America has declared the space race is back on. As fears grow, China will land on the moon and block the world out.
Oh, space stories are always fun and interesting. Obviously, this is centering on a bit of a fear campaign. China's going to block us out from the moon. I mean, I didn't have any plans going there myself, but I don't want to thought that I can't go there. They block me. Oh, this is news, by the way, for people in Australia might recognise Peter from overseas. This is an actual newsreader. This isn't a skit.
NASA today showing off the capsule they hope will get them there first.
The Gang of Four destined to head back towards the moon.
This is a rehash of an old story. They've already introduced these guys. Remember they ran onto the stage and were all introduced one at a time? A lot of fanfare. Well, now they're just standing there a bit more serious this time, because now it's like they're not just, astronauts. They're more sort of fighters, space fighters.
Meet the spacecraft that will help take them there.
We are your Artemis crew, and this is our Orion spacecraft.
I thought that was just maybe some scale model, but he's saying this is it. We've already built it. We're definitely going. Doesn't look that big. How do you feel? Remember, it's got to be insulated. And the 4 of them are going to be in there. Why can't they just send 1 or 2? Ah, yeah, so you need your representation there. You've got to have 4. And they're not... What's each of their expertise that are needed to just zoom around the moon and come back? Because that's all they're going to be doing, this lot. They're not going to be landed.
Americans Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch and Canadian Jeremy Hansen will launch on Artemis 2 late next year. They will fly past the moon and return home.
They got the graphics. It's all sounded very exciting. That might what their problem might be, because this is a rehash of a story they've already done, and they sort of added the fact that it's now an imperative to try and get people interested. If you look at the views, it's got 5.3k views, only 45 likes. So obviously a lot of people know, like us, we know they're not actually going to be on the moon. No one's going to go to the moon. We know that. But even those that might believe it, they're still just not interested.
NASA's goal is to return humans to the lunar surface by the end of 2025.
We're going to venture out into the cosmos.
So the average American, well, actually, and us now that we're involved with the making the moon buggy, it's going to be up there fighting the Chinese. We're going to put a gun turret on or something. Now we know there's a space race. You're going to try and block us out. Anyway, he's using these poetic terms, going out into the cosmos. Well, that's already been done. With the first moon, a lot of moon landings that they did, sort of, as they say they did. You know what? Just think about it on the fly. The best thing they could do now to get people interested in space is to come clean and go, okay, look, most people know it. We're just coming clean. We never actually went to the moon before. Despite all of those billions of dollars, they were all just on a movie set. It was all wasted. Hands up, it was us. We shouldn't have done it. We're really sorry. They go, but look, we've actually got the technology now. We can actually go. So venturing out into the cosmos, this is it. This is the moon landing. You're getting the feeling of being the first time. See, this is just like we've already been there, but they come clean and make out like they go. And the beauty of it is now is the CGI is much better than when they don't go. It's much more believable. Try and poke holes in some of this special effects, unlike the first one, with letters on rocks and shadows going in all different directions and wires lifting them back up off the ground when they fell over. Now they could make it much more believable. And, I just a suggestion for NASA. Look. We've been bullshitting the whole fucking time, but we're not bullshitting now. That's my advice to them. Still don't go, but you got a more presentable lie.
That mission, Artemis 3, is on track. The target, the moon's south pole. NASA believes water is beneath the surface. Enough of it could mean hydrogen and oxygen. Valuable assets when another destination is in mind.
This news reporter, Jonathan Kersley, he's actually being quite honest. Well, the script is, because they talk about how there might be some hydrogen and oxygen through water on the moon, and then they said, you've got to keep that in mind when you go to, instead of saying to the moon, he goes to another destination. That's what he says. Let's do it again. And as he says it, they show a shot. Looks like it's from Earth somewhere, maybe Antarctica or Greenland, which is where I suspect that they're going to hide this whole, because it's going to run for years. They're going to pretend there's people up there. It's going to be like the Truman Show. I can't wait, guys. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I don't want to spend the money. Well, the money's almost worth it. It's almost more interesting that they tell a whole story and it's a lie than if they went. This is like more fascinating.
We're going back to learn to live in a deep space environment for long periods of time so that we can go to Mars and return safely.
Yeah, so that's their selling point, is that was new, because we're basically going to go to Mars. The thing is, though, Mars is like, is it 6 million kilometres away or something? It means only 200. It's like sort of planning a trip to, say, Western Australia from Sydney and practicing by going out into your backyard.
But there's competition.
We're in a space race with China.
And NASA fears a takeover, similar to islands in the South China Sea.
Yeah, slight difference, most people might have picked up on this, between the islands in the South China Sea and, say, the moon surface, in that the South China Sea has got billions of dollars of trade, all the time happening. And there's a lot of security reasons there as well for that. As far as hegemony and all, the stakes are really high in the South China Sea. I'm not sure the economic considerations the same on the moon.
I don't want China to get to the South Pole first with humans and then say, this is ours.
Well, he doesn't want to, but he's spending other people's money. That's just his personal thing. Like, he's got a real conviction. He doesn't want to see that. Him himself, just all by himself. But I'm pretty sure if you did a survey of the people that are paying for it, do you care if China somehow get to the South Pole of the moon where you're never going to go and say, this is ours? Yeah, okay. Take Neptune. Pluto's yours as well.
Stay out.
A fresh concern more than 60 years since JFK took issue with the moon and the Soviet Union.
We shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom.
The space race is back on.
They're really having trouble flogging this moon thing as a justification to rip billions or trillions out of public funds to keep that scam going. 45 likes out of 5.3k views. No one's interested. They seem to think that adding the spectre of China is going to get people, yeah, take my money. And the Mars ambition, they think that's going to buy them another 30 years of this scam. Just finish on a bit of a more of a serious note, somber note. When they probably initially did think that they could maybe get there somehow, even when they first started, back, say, in the late 50s, early 60s. But it wasn't until Gus Grissom said, we can't communicate between the tower, which is 30 metres away, and the module, which is out in the launch pad. So how are we going to communicate between the moon and Earth? And when they killed him, then they should have just gone, look, we're putting it on hiatus. Maybe in another 100 years, 200 years, when we got the technology, we can't do it now. We're going to cut our losses. American people go, okay, thanks for being honest with us. But no, they killed Gus Grissom and just thought, nah, we're going ahead with this. We're going to steal this money. All right, that's it for this one.